It's Dr. Cody Rall with Techforpsych. I'm coming to you from Alaska today, doing a little fireside chat. It's a topic that I've wanted to do for a little while now. It's about broadening horizons, something that I've been thinking about a lot lately. And there's been a couple of things that have, provoked this thought process. One of them being in Alaska. Every time I'm up here, it's just a giant landscape that really gets you thinking about the big picture. My uncle in Montana last week put it very well. He said, things in Alaska are just big. You have big animals, big landscapes, big risks. We've been halibut fishing for the last couple of days, and it's pretty funny. My dad just really makes sure everything's dialed in correctly because it's a pretty dangerous activity. I mean, we're putting a 20-something foot aluminum boat into the middle of the ocean, the Cook Inlet right behind me here in Alaska, and going out and catching these huge fish. I mean, often the halibut are not any bigger than 40 pounds, but some of these that we catch can get well up over 150 pounds and can be pretty dangerous. We've caught things like octopus, shark, and all kinds of things out there. We saw porpoises out there the other day, a lot of otters. We've seen whales before. Alaska is just a really interesting big place. And another thing that got me on this thought process was a friend randomly sent me a Facebook Messenger message saying, I think this is your style. So he was saying, this is the Cody Rall style. And I was really flattered because the quote comes from Terrance McKenna, who was a big influence on me, especially in the earlier days, about being an academic and just talking about issues of perception and reality and how to find your place in the world, really. For those of you who don't know, Terrance McKenna was around during the early days of psychedelic research with Timothy Leary, getting in trouble for his slogan with LSD and, these substances getting outlawed in 1971. But Terrance McKenna, would go down to South America and do psilocybin and really broaden his horizons with that and do heroic doses of mushrooms, like 5 grams of mushroom in pure darkness, just to expand his horizons. So the quote that my friend sent me from Terrance McKenna goes, "The idea is not to confront bad ideas, but to come up with good ideas. Otherwise, your enemies define the game and you are the loyal opposition." Terrance McKenna. I was so flattered that someone sent me that and said that they felt that that was my philosophy. And, I would have to agree that I have taken a life philosophy of just trying to focus on the positive and build something that will help myself and those around me, rather than putting my energy towards things that are toxic. So coincidentally, I just had read this book by a guy named Vadim Zeland called Transurfing Reality. It's a really weird book. I've talked about law of attraction a little bit on this channel before, but this really takes it to a whole new level. In this book, Vadim would argue that there's a part of reality called the space of variations, and it really holds a mathematical probability of anything and everything happening in the universe. And what that means for you and me is we have a distinct responsibility to make sure that we don't get pulled into negative energies that manifest bad things. And he made a distinction called the pendulum. So any group wants more power, more influence, no matter what it is. This is just the way that the universe works. So whether it be a government, whether it be the military, or whether it be just 4 or 5 people that want other people to join them to go out on a night of bowling league or something like that, all these different entities want more influence. Okay, and what you have to be careful of is where you're giving your influence. So if you feed into these different pendulums, you fuel the fire and they pull you even more into them. And going back to that Terrance McKenna quote, I think that what he was talking about is you only have a certain amount of time, but almost more importantly, energy during the day to focus on certain things. I've chosen to put aside at least an hour or 2 a day into this YouTube channel and other Techforpsych activities that have built this ecosystem of positive self-development, learning, neurotechnology, hopefully leading to something even bigger one day, maybe a neurotechnology company that makes devices. And it's really brought so much richness to my life. I mean, to be flown out to different institutions to give talks and be paid to do that has just been a dream. And the fact that it's actually happened is amazing to me. That's another part about being in Alaska right here, right now, is I've started some of my original YouTube videos were on this porch. And to be back 4 or 5 years later and have just learned so much and be looking forward to doing so much with this channel is unreal. So getting back to what this book was talking about, you really want to be careful about where you put your energy, whether it be like just a little drama at work that's going on or politics that you're not happy with. And I'm not saying don't be an activist. I'm not saying don't, not care about things that are happening in the world and try to make positive change. But to the amount that you're putting your emotional energy into it and letting it drain you, that's the main thing. Don't let these things drain you of your energy. Because if you're not taking a good amount of that energy and investing in yourself, whether that be reading things that help you with self-help, building something like a YouTube channel or website, or maybe even like making a new invention or a device, or even building up a property, like if you're a real estate agent, any of these things really, help you put energy back into yourself. A good company invests 10 to 20% of its earnings back into itself. So really, you need to be taking care of yourself and making sure that you don't let these institutions take the energy away from you and suck you dry, basically. These things can just, take you for a ride, and by the end of the day, you're so emotionally exhausted that you can't do what you want to do. And I think that going back to the theme of broadening horizons, you need to have big goals. You need to have things that really you think could revolutionize your life, the people around you, and have a big impact. And I'm not saying you have to build a multi-million or billion-dollar company. It could be something as impactful as really having a strong family foundation and being there for your loved ones. But for me, it's really been this quest of looking into neurotechnology and these other aspects of technology that can help us develop as human beings. And like I said, it just created this ecosystem. And I think that people have been watching me for some time and seeing this thing grow. And in person, there's a certain amount of centeredness that I've noticed in myself that other people just don't seem to have, especially in the workplace. I mean, there's been some things that have happened, that I've seen people cry at meetings and all this drama. And I just don't feel the emotional pull of it, because I know in the back of my mind, okay, this day-to-day stuff is important, but at the same time, I'm gonna go home and work on my own stuff. That's what I'm most proud of. This day-to-day work stuff is important, but it's not my end-all be-all. This is not my identity. I've got other things going on. And really that's what it comes down to, is having a lot going on and big goals so that you don't get sucked into the day-to-day minutia. And having that North Star pointing you towards something that you're, again, moving towards, so that you don't get pulled away by these little pendulums that are happening day to day. If you've got something to do, like for me, if I've got a video that I need to make that day, and I'm getting pulled by little things that people are expecting me to do, it's a no-brainer. I know that I'm going to make the video, I'm going to produce, I know I'm going to do the thing that I need to do in order to further my cause that day. It makes decisions easier. Some people might call that selfish, but really for me, and I've heard other entrepreneurs and very successful people say this, you need to be selfish in certain situations. You need to sort of know how to say no, cut people off, cut situations off when you know that it's not furthering your cause. Maybe if I've made a video that day and someone wants me to do something for them or hang out or, take a little bit of that energy I have for that day in order to further their cause, I will, because I know I've gotten the work done. But if I haven't made a video that day, or if I have something that I simply need to do to further Techforpsych, I can pretty easily say, hey, you know what? I really want to help you out, but I can't get to it today. Can we do it tomorrow or next week? Because I know I need to do that one thing in order to build that brick house. Will Smith said one time on one of his videos, his father made him and his brother build this big brick wall. And at the beginning they said, Dad, we can't do it. We can't build this brick wall. But really what he made them do was work a little bit each day, laying the bricks, laying the foundation. And before they knew it, they had this giant wall. And his father said to him after it was all done, don't tell me you can't do something. Look what you did. You built this wall.
You don't try to build a wall. You don't set out to build a wall. You don't say, I'm going to build the biggest, baddest, greatest wall that's ever been built. You don't start there. You say, I'm going to lay this brick as perfectly as a brick can be laid. There will not be one brick on the face of the earth that's going to be laid better than this brick that I'm going to lay in this next 10 minutes. And you do that every single day.
And soon you have a wall.
And soon you have a wall.
And for me, looking at this YouTube channel, it's amazing to see me getting more subscribers and view counts per month than I did in the entire first year that I had been doing this YouTube channel. So having those broad horizons, having those big goals, I think has made me more of a centered person, has made me more goal-directed and know when I need to say no to certain things, and constantly moving forward, not getting pulled into these pendulums, this work drama or any other drama that comes into your life. And going back to what that Terrance McKenna quote said, not getting sucked into this game of being the opposition to something. Why do we have to be the opposition of something? I guess it's just the way the universe is set up. Right now we have left versus right, Democrat versus Republican, us versus them. We're very tribal creatures. And if we can get around that, and my philosophy is just, focusing on something positive, something like neurotechnology that I feel like can really enrich everybody's lives and further things. And I guess that's the luxury of being either a doctor or in science. You don't have to take sides all the time. You can just focus on something positive that people can get behind and move forward with that. And there'll always be haters, there'll always be controversy, but putting your positive energy towards something that I think that can help everybody, I think is awesome. Focus on something that's going to further humanity rather than spinning circles round and round. So I just wanted to talk about those couple of points about broadening horizons, the Terrance McKenna quote, and just being in Alaska and it really, provoking these thought processes from me. The last thing that I wanted to talk about is, just a little bit of advice. People ask, how do you build something like this? And, I remember when I first started doing videos, just putting out videos on random topics. I didn't care whether people were into it or not, but what I found is that over time, people tend to gravitate towards certain topics that I like some more than others. And really, it's almost like a Venn diagram over time. You find out what people are interested in, what people are jazzed up about, what your interests are, and it's overlapping in a Venn diagram, and right there in the sweet spot, you can find something that people are really super interested in, that you're interested in, stuff that you enjoy talking about, or stuff that you enjoy writing about, or stuff that you enjoy creating, like technology or landscapes or anything that is constructive. And you find your niche and you move forward and you zero in and you sharpen your sword. And I know I'm saying a bunch of generic terms right there, but really that's what it is. It's like you find out what's working, you modify that, and you just dial it in more and more until it seems to be more and more effective. And the universe rewards people that are persistent and creative and don't care about failing. I've failed so many times with this channel, with doing this stuff, and the idea is just to keep moving forward, keep those big goals, and keep positive. So that's everything that I wanted to talk about today. I hope you enjoy these clips of Alaska. Again, I've got one-on-one coaching up, so if you guys are interested in that, go to www.techforpsych.com/coaching. Leave your comments below and let me know what you thought about this talk. Thanks so much for your time. This is Cody Rall with Techforpsych, signing off.